Afternoon for round 2 of the championship from Korea International Circuit for the 2015 GT Asia Series.
Another tough year. I think it's even tougher than last year. We got a new sponsor this year, INTERUSH.
Looking forward to competing for my first full season in the championship. We have really a strong team here. Car Bamboo Racing has really prepared the cars well, and VLT is a really strong sponsor for us.
First of all, it's great to be back in GT Asia and to do a complete season, and Korea International Circuit is certainly a very challenging circuit. So far so good. We've been quite quick in all sessions, so we look forward now to the qualifying and the race.
And what a season it was then. Of course, that was taken out by 2-time and now 3-time champion Clearwater Racing. Mok Weng Sun taking his 3rd title. We see cars on circuit now led by Richard Lyons, who took pole position in a fantastic battle with the man behind him in the number 1 car. James Collado, the Ferrari World Endurance Championship factory driver. He's here this weekend, first time out, joining Clearwater Racing, and first time in a GT3 car. Very, very quick. There was a fantastic battle between the two stars. As I say, we had the incident with Adelie Fong and Sean Fu in the Caldarelli car that is starting on the 2nd row. They made contact during qualifying. A lot of damage to the front of the Bentley. I'll explain that later as they get into formation to start the race. Coming out of the final of the 18 turns, anti-clockwise rotation here, beg your pardon, the second to last corner. Control line now, Richard Lyons can go when he's ready. The car's in line, stewards have given the green light. The field is away, no, in fact, yes they are, I beg your pardon. The field is away, down to turn 1. Now, this could be fairly dicey. It's a very slow corner into turn 1. Lyons through, Collado through, and that was Caldarelli into position number 3. Looks like Darryl O'Young has taken the position away there into position number 4. Just slipped upside the inside of Duncan Tappy, who's driving the Bentley. You can see the white car on the left of screen there. So it's a drag race now between Collado and Richard Lyons down to turn 1. Michelin tyres this year, a bit different to what they've had in the past, so a lot of the teams are getting used to that. That's using all of the circuit and more. That's probably a little bit too dramatic. They use plenty of this Formula 1 designed circuit. Now it's another drag race between the V12 Aston, yellow flag. Somebody may have a drama off the start. No, that's looks like Richard Wee and Craig Baird. There's more drama. That's the race leader. Has fallen back coming through the twisty part of the circuit. And he's going to lose position now to Duncan Tappy. So Richard Lyons has got to be a little bit mindful he doesn't get too caught up this early in the race. He doesn't want to take the edge off his Michelin tyres. He knows he's got the pace. He doesn't want to get caught up in it. Perhaps they've been dealt a bit of an unfair hand, but no doubt that will sort itself out as the season progresses. So it's Collado leading. Not a huge lead at the moment. They might have expected that they'd be battling the car that's now in 3rd position, Richard Lyons. So it's just under so no advantage there for Richard Lyons. Still Andrea Caldarelli hangs on. He will hand over to Sean Fu, as we mentioned earlier, was unfortunately tagged by Adelie Fong in the number 8 Bentley Continental of Absolute Racing. During Kutikorn was quite impressive. The Pitty's decided that he will move across from the Thailand Super Series. This hasn't been a big drop-off. Now already, Mok Weng Sun's having dramas because that's of Kiichi Mori and Hisashi Kuni. Well, it doesn't look like, as we go back to shots of Mok Weng Sun, doesn't look like he's suffering any dramas. But certainly that has handed the lead straight across to Frank Yu. And the Hong Kong-based driver, the Craft Bamboo team boss, will be very happy with this, but he knows too that the man that he's been battling over the last 5 seasons in GT Asia is no slouch. If there has been an issue, whether there's been a slight hiccup with a shift, whether there's an electrical issue or something's cut out and that's forced him to lose all that advantage he took out of pit lane, it certainly doesn't look like he's got a problem now as he closes into the rear of the 88 INTERUSH Aston Martin. So now this is where the race will be. This certainly makes things an awful lot more interesting. We see 5:10, so it was half a second crossing the line. That was pretty visible last time round. As we see a drag race between the 6-litre V12 Aston Martin and the 4.5-litre Ferrari 458. He's not going to get past Frank Yu like that. Frank can be very wide if he needs to, but there will certainly be lots to talk about after this one, because that was a strange situation to see. The number one car is showing absolutely no signs now, as you see how bumpy it is into turn 4. No signs of the drama that seemed to have cost him 5 or 6 seconds last time around, because that was coming out of pit lane. We don't have a good indication as to just how much time he lost as the lap times display on screen. Anthony Liu's now in position number 3, and see him on screen there. He is 22 seconds further back. The man who won here last year is not out of this equation, but the guys in front of him may only be about a second a lap slower. We have 20 minutes to go. There might be another maybe 10 or 12 laps. Second a lap, 10 or 12 seconds perhaps. That's not going to be enough to now allow Anthony Liu back for the three-peat. Now, a little bit of pace drop-off again there too by Wang Sun. That's quite surprising. Whether there's a drama through that part of the circuit for some reason. He's just dropped off a little bit there, where he's closed right up on the long straights here at Korea International onto the back of the 88 Aston Martin. We'll see what comes from here. Might be another issue, whether there's been some drama with the tyre, whether any contact, because both those cars were involved in a battle for position on the opening lap. Whether that has had an effect perhaps on some aero and the characteristics of the Ferrari just in certain corners might be enough to lose him that advantage over his Aston Martin rival. But this is certainly shaping up to what we expect are going to be the two teams to battle for the 2015 championship, as Wang Sun closes right up behind Frank Yu again into turn 1. Very technical circuit. We say technical because there's a lot of change of directions. There's a couple of long straights, a couple of very fast sweeping corners, which is where the pro drivers admit they have the advantage over the amateur drivers because they're more committed. I reckon it's a very, very tough circuit to drive very quickly. And James Collado mentioned that it took him a few laps to come to grips with the very fast section of the circuit through turns 7 and 8, which is around where the two GT Asia rivals are now. Coming down to turn number 4. And there's also through the final section of the race, through the lap rather, turns 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Very short, sharp runs. Technical data from Rick Kemp, who's one of the lead engineers on the Triple F Racing McLaren team, tells me that there are only 20 gear shifts per lap, which is quite surprising over a 2-minute lap. 18 corners, 5.61 kilometres. There's now, that's Young's in on screen, whether that is Hiroshi Hamaguchi immediately ahead of him or Sean Fu. In fact, it's Sean Fu still holding down position number 4. So the two Chinese drivers who started the NB team in 2 Aston Martins here 12 months ago have moved across to the new Triple F Racing team. They've brought with them Hiroshi Hamaguchi, who drove a McLaren through last season. He was part of the Clearwater Racing team, the team of Mok Weng Sun, who's in position number 2 there on screen. Weng Sun and Hamaguchi drove together in the 2013 season. Only 2 wins for Mok that year. He'd won 4 in the 3 seasons prior and 4 last year. So very successful driver in this championship, but McLaren perhaps didn't suit his taste as much. He's committed to the Ferrari mark. In fact, he said to me the other day that the new 488 Ferrari is on order for the Clearwater Racing team. So they've made their commitment for the 2016 season, and they'll look forward to trying to get that car later this year to do some testing ahead of the championship. But of course, this is just the first round of the 2015 GT Asia Series, so the action is only just beginning. battle wages on still. Now Weng Sun's trying the inside. Frank Yu crosses across to close the door on him. Last year we saw contact between the two drivers at this very circuit, and that forced the number 1 car. Then it was the number 3, Ferrari 458 of Kitasawa and Weng Sun. It was Weng Sun that was behind the wheel at the time into retirement. After the race there was some discussion about whether or not Frank might have dived down the inside and left his run a little bit too late, but Frank was very apologetic. Weng Sun admitted that in all the years they'd raced together, they'd never previously made contact. They shook hands on it, everything was fine, and they carried on as the mates they've always been throughout their journey in the GT Asia Series, which again is another hallmark of this championship. Yes, it's serious, but these guys are also mates at the end of the day, and it makes the championship an awful lot more interesting. How that plays out this year, now that they've all got professional drivers, factory support from a technical perspective, and all those things on the line, maybe that will change, but certainly over the last few years it has been a fantastic series to be a part of. Now Zen Low looking at the inside, that may perhaps have been Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Hamaguchi's gone around the outside of Low, the Malaysian driver, making his debut in the GT Asia Series this year. They're battling over positions number 6 and 7. Jackie Young's now down to position number 8, and he will have Jeffrey Lee behind him in the not too distant future. In fact, that should have been Jeffrey closing in behind him. Now Jerry Wang has just been quietly working away in the Absolute Racing Audi R8 LMS car. It's the GTM class leader. He's in position number 10. And by virtue of some of the attrition with other cars in the field, Adderley Fong is now shown in position number 11. So they will get some valuable data out of today. They'll be very disappointed they've had to affect the engine change. It doesn't appear that there has been anything much more than superficial damage to the car, certainly no structural damage, so they will be able to press on over the course of the weekend. Now, let's look at the pace. We were talking 207s, 208s in the opening stanza with the pro drivers. As again, Weng Sun looks at the outside run on Frank Yu, and he's not going to get it. There'll be a drag race again, and already we've seen the drag race go to the Vantage in a straight line. Look at it there. There's not much in it. In fact, the 458 Ferraris managed to get a little bit better power down coming out of the corner. He's pulled alongside, but Frank breaks deep. Weng Sun's got his work cut out for him if he's going to win this one, but that's just what you want to see. Nice work from these two teams as they progress through. See a new livery. We're used to the Hulk design on both of the Craft Bamboo Racing Aston Martins this year. Of course, two distinctly different colour schemes, two different sponsors. The VLT yellow car of Darryl O'Young and Jonathan Venter, who have pole position for race 2 tomorrow. We'll see them back. Unfortunately, retirements in this race. And the INTERUSH light blue car of Frank Yu and Richard Lyons, who will join him for the entire season. We saw last year Stefan Mucker was a big part of Frank Yu's championship challenge, and Mucker is committed to his World Endurance Championship program this year. So Richard Lyons has signed on with a full year with the Craft Bamboo Racing team. So watch for them to be real contenders through the year. And despite all the factory input, new teams, impressive driver lineups and professionals added to the GT Asia Series over the years, it's still the Clearwater Racing team and the Craft Bamboo team that are battling at the front of the field, and that's just what we like to see. And certainly the fans of the GT Asia Series are very happy to see their founding fathers, essentially the teams that have been big players in this championship over recent years, continuing to run at the front of the field. So 212s for them last time round, 208s for their lead drivers. So Frank Yu's done a 212.8. Weng Sun, who's caught up obviously with the big V12 Vantage in front of him, 213.0. Behind them, Anthony Liu's just done a 210.0. The interesting point is, there he is at the top of the screen. There is 12 minutes left to go in this race. This battle that these two are having at the front of the field is slowing them down to the tune of 3 seconds a lap. We thought it might only be a second a lap. But Anthony Liu is the charger. He is now only 10 seconds behind this battle for the lead. These guys are going to have to start listening to their engineers and work out whether or not they want to be battling over second or third, or whether they want to be battling later in this race for the victory. They almost need to settle into a qualifying run and just focus on the job at hand and the approaching Anthony Liu immediately behind them. certainly 3 seconds a lap is going to get rid of that deficit inside of 3 laps. And with 12 minutes to go, we still have something like 6 laps left in this race. If they cross the line and the clock's still ticking, 59 minutes and so many seconds, it will be another lap. So it is down to the lap they cross after the 60 minutes is completed. And we see Young's in, who is holding down position number 4. He's a good 30 seconds back from Anthony Liu in the number 37 BBT, red and yellow Ferrari 458, but that is a good start to their championship. Sean Fu too, a great job by him to still be hanging on to position number 5, and his teammate Hiroshi Hamaguchi, he's the one on the charge. Now Hamaguchi last time round did a 2:11.3, Sean Fu a 2:18.9. Now you may think that's a little bit on the slow side, but he hasn't done a lot of miles in these cars. He's been out of the seat for the best part of a year since his debut here 12 months ago. He's been taking wholesale time out of his lap times through practice and has just set his personal best this time round. Young's in 2:14.0. Now he's off the pace that we would expect to see from him in a normal case. So he's 33 seconds back. He's only 17 seconds up from Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Hamaguchi's pulling him in at 3 seconds a lap. So there's still position changes yet to come. I don't expect you'll see Hamaguchi catch the leading trio. But look at that gap now. As they crested the rise just here last time round, Anthony Liu was rear of screen coming through turn number 2. So he has pulled in last time round 4 seconds. It's now 6.3 seconds separating Anthony Liu and Weng Sun in the number 1 Clearwater Racing Ferrari. Now one wonders whether they've had an indication from pit lane that they need to be pressing on. As you see, that is Hiroshi Hamaguchi about to take Sean Fu for position. I just missed the race numbers then to see whether it was the 55 or the 5 that was the leading car of those two. We'll soon see, but you'll expect Hiroshi Hamaguchi will take that position away and soon be out in pursuit of his other teammate in the number 9 car, Yang Xin, the Chinese driver who was on the podium here in race 2 12 months ago. Now Frank Yu has opened up a bit of a lead, 1.4 seconds now it is shown. Anthony Liu, there he is on screen. He's reeled them in, he's 2:09.8 last time around, so there's no lack of pace there. Adley Fong too, 2:10.3, so he had that contact during qualifying, but he's still maintaining a very, very good pace, so doesn't appear to be too many dramas with that car. It's a pity for them, they are a strong combination, very little separating Kitasawa from Adley Fong in the number 8 Bentley Continental, very little separating Anthony Liu and Davide Rizzo in the number 37 Ferrari that is ranging up behind these guys. It appears now that Weng Sun is starting to make inroads again into Frank Yu. So Frank may have had a little bit of a moment. It looks like Weng Sun has closed that gap, but you will see very, very soon the number 37 BBT Ferrari has a sniff. This could be their 3rd win from 3 starts. There he is behind. Now, something has happened. There has been some communication from pit lane. 2:11.9 last time round from Frank Yu. 2:11.2 from Weng Sun. 2:10 dead for Anthony Liu. He's now 4 seconds behind Weng Sun. So he hasn't gained too much last time round. There's 8 minutes left in this race. Adley Fong's immediately ahead of him, running a similar pace. Weng Sun's decided, I've had enough of this. We need to get through on the Aston Martin and get away because that Ferrari of Anthony Liu is closing us down. I want to be clear of this. So he's closed in for another attack. He might have just let his tyres sit for a couple of laps, get them back into a position to be able to charge. What we mean by that is it allows the tyre. And Frank Yu has just gone a little bit too deep, and that has left the door open for Weng Sun to fire through to the lead. Down at turn 14, and Weng Sun is going to lead across the line, and he'll be wanting to stretch the legs on the number 1 Clearwater Racing Ferrari and get away from not just the Aston Martin but the approaching threat that is the man who won here last time we were here, in fact won both 60-minute races 12 months ago. Now Frank Yu's firing back at him. He looks like he's in a position to actually take the position back, and he comes up the inside. Is there going to be contact? No, he's got the wrong line. But this is not going to help them, and it's going to do everything to play into Anthony Liu's favour. Now watch the Chinese driver is approaching. He's immediately behind. Now Adderley Fong is just there. You can see him immediately behind the leaders. Now Fong's pace is such that he could drive past them, and he's about to unlap himself from Frank Yu. He has every right to do that. The flags may wave and force him out of position as Anthony Liu comes through, but at the moment his pace is all but matching Liu. Now this could create a bit of a problem. Wang Sun has got the lead back. There is 6.5 minutes left on the clock. He will do everything in his power to keep that advantage to the line, but he knows what Anthony Liu is capable of. He's battled he and Davide Rizzo, his teammate, door handle to door handle through the 2014 season, and he knows that he has the pace to catch through. The lights are flashing. Fong has moved out of the way. Liu is on the tail of Frank Yu. There's nothing separating them. Last time round, 2:10.4 for Anthony Liu. No, he's not quite got the position there. Frank Yu's driving with everything he has, all these years of experience behind the wheel of that gorgeous Aston Martin, he's going to put into play to do what he can to retain the position. He too knows what Anthony Liu's capable of and the pace of that car. Mok Wang Sun is really firing as much as he can. Now, Liu has cut across to take the position away. He should take... No one else has ever won here at Korea International Circuit. Every one of the 3 races contested so far has been won by the 2 drivers in the number 37 BBT Ferrari. Third place, seeing you tomorrow afternoon for round 2 of the championship from Korea International Circuit for the 2015 GT Asia Series.